So you're interested in Klarna's big AI gamble. I have to admit, when I first saw those headlines, about them ditching Salesforce and Workday, I was skeptical too. But the more we dug into this, the more fascinating it got.
Yeah.
What do you make of a company like trying to replace those kinds of systems with their own AI?
It's definitely a bold move, no question. I think what I find so fascinating is the scale of what Klarna's trying to do here. It's not just like adding AI features or, like dipping their toes in the water. They're talking about a complete overhaul, claiming their AI can actually outperform these industry giants. Like, it's a big claim. So there's a lot to unpack here, from the, the technical side of it to the potential consequences, like, for the whole software landscape, really.
Yeah. And it's not just talk. Right, they're putting their money where your mouth is, or at least that's what it looks like. I mean, Klarna's already claiming a big win with their AI-powered customer service bot. Like, they're saying it's as effective as 700 employees, 2 million customer interactions a month. I mean, that's a bold claim. It makes you wonder if this success is fueling their even bigger ambitions with this whole thing.
Yeah, it's definitely a compelling story they're weaving, right? This idea that they've cracked the code with AI. But I think, Josh Bersin, who's a real leading voice in HR tech, he brings up a really crucial point, which is that building systems like Workday and Salesforce, it's not just about like raw technology, right? It's about understanding the incredibly complex workflows and all the nuances of HR and CRM. So the question is, can Klarna really replicate like decades of industry knowledge with just algorithms, right? Can they really do that?
That's a really good point, because you're right. These platforms aren't just databases, right? I mean, they're deeply integrated into like how businesses actually function at a very basic level. And Klarna's CEO, Sebastian Siemiatkowski, he seems very confident. He's even hinted at, shrinking their workforce with AI as the driver of that change. So, I mean, it makes you wonder, right? Like, is this pure innovation, or is there an element of, hype to all of this, especially with the potential IPO on the horizon?
Right. That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? And I think, some experts are calling it a PR stunt, right?
Yeah.
Just a way to generate some buzz before they go public. And there's definitely an element of, as one CEO put it, free marketing to all of this, for sure. But even if it starts as hype, like, could they be onto something bigger here? Is there something more to this? Right. What if they pull this off? Like, imagine the disruption if companies, especially bigger companies, start ditching, their expensive software subscriptions for their own homegrown AI solutions. I mean, could Klarna spark a revolution in how we even think about business software?
It's possible. To understand that possibility, I think we need to dig into the technical side a little bit.
Right.
Because they're using OpenAI, which is a powerful tool, right? But are they really leveraging it to its full potential? Are they just, building like glorified chatbots? Or are we talking about next level AI that can actually manage the complexities of a global workforce and intricate sales funnels and things like that?
Okay, now that's where it gets really interesting, because we're not just talking about simple stuff here. We're talking about like replacing core systems, replacing the central nervous system of these companies in a lot of ways. So how is OpenAI being used here? Are we talking about like GPT-4 for code generation, for data analysis, or is it something even more ambitious? Because that could be the difference between a publicity stunt and a genuine like technological leap, right?
Absolutely. And that's what makes this such a compelling deep dive, right? Because we're not just talking about one company's strategy. This could be like a turning point potentially in how businesses use AI at a fundamental level. To really wrap our heads around that, I think we need to look at those systems they're trying to replace.
Salesforce and Workday. Let's start with Salesforce. What exactly is Klarna up against there? Salesforce. I mean, it's everywhere you look, right? It seems like every business uses it for something.
Yeah.
So what makes it so, like, indispensable? And more importantly, can AI really replace like what it does at that scale?
Yeah, you're right. Salesforce it's deeply embedded in the business world, and for good reason. It's way more than just a contact database. I mean, it's like the central nervous system for a company's sales and marketing and customer relationships, all of it. It's got layers upon layers of tools for managing leads, for tracking customer interactions, automating marketing campaigns, analyzing sales data. I mean, I could go on and on.
It sounds incredibly complex. I'm starting to see why
why Klarna's CEO was talking about shutting down like multiple software providers. Are they really trying to
Yeah.
like replicate that whole ecosystem from scratch?
That seems to be the goal, yeah, at least from what they're saying publicly. And that's no small feat, let me tell you. I think one of the biggest hurdles for Klarna is going to be replicating the sheer depth and breadth of what Salesforce does. I mean, this is a platform that's been honed over like decades, right? With constant updates, constant refinements based on how businesses are actually using it, based on their evolving needs.
So it's not just about like building something that works, right? It's about building something that can adapt and evolve at the same pace as the business world itself, that's a tall order. What about Workday? What kind of challenges are they facing on that front?
Yeah, Workday is a whole other beast.
Yeah.
You're talking about the intricate and oftentimes very highly regulated world of human resources.
Right.
We're talking payroll, benefits, time tracking, talent management, like all the essential functions that keep a company running smoothly, keep the lights on. And Workday has all these built-in features for compliance and reporting and automation, and they're all tailored to the specific needs of HR departments, which are very, very specific.
So it sounds like Klarna is basically trying to replace the systems that companies use to manage, like both their customers and their employees, right? All at once.
Mm-hmm.
What are the chances they can build something that's not only functional, but also compliant, right? I mean, compliant with all the relevant regulations and legal requirements, all of that.
That's the million-dollar question, right? And it gets to the heart of all the skepticism surrounding this whole AI gamble. Because, even if they can replicate the basic functionality of these platforms, right? Can they handle like the nuances, the edge cases, the constant need for updates, right? Keeping up with ever-changing regulations. I mean, it's a lot.
Yeah, it makes you wonder if they're underestimating the sheer volume of work that goes into like just maintaining these enterprise systems, right? It's not like you build it once and you're done.
Not at all, not even close. And this is where I think the potential pitfalls become even more apparent, right? Because building and maintaining these systems, it requires a massive investment, not just in AI, but in human expertise.
Right.
You need developers, you need engineers, data scientists, legal experts, domain specialists, people who really understand the ins and outs of HR and CRM and the very, very specific needs of the businesses that Klarna is going after.
So even if even if they're successful in the short term, right, there's still this long-term cost and complexity that they need to be thinking about. It sounds like this whole gamble could really backfire if they underestimate the resources, the ongoing resources that are required to just keep these systems running.
Exactly. And don't forget, they're attempting all of this while also trying to streamline their operations and prepare for a potential IPO, right? So it's a lot to juggle. It really raises the question of whether their resources, no matter how substantial they are, right, if they're just being spread too thin.
It's a high-stakes game they're playing. They're essentially betting their future on AI, and the outcome could have ripple effects throughout, the entire business world. I mean, on the one hand, if they succeed, it could be a game changer. It could revolutionize the entire software industry. But on the other hand, if they fail, I mean, it could be a cautionary tale about the limits of AI, right? The dangers of underestimating the complexity of building like truly enterprise-grade software.
You hit the nail on the head. It's this tension between potential disruption and potential disaster that I think makes Klarna's gamble so fascinating to watch. But to really grasp the magnitude of what they're attempting, I think it's helpful to consider what happened when other tech giants, right, companies with even greater resources than Klarna, when they tried to build their own internal systems.
You mean like Google and Amazon? Didn't they try something similar at some point? What happened there? Were they successful, or did they kind of hit a wall? I mean, this is where I think your insights could be really, really valuable for our listener, because I'm sure they're wondering the same thing.
Yeah, you're right. Those are perfect examples, and their experiences, I think, offer some valuable lessons for anyone considering going down this path. Both Google and Amazon, I mean, with their armies of engineers and almost unlimited budgets, right? They've both dipped their toes into building their own HR and CRM systems at various points.
Okay, so Google and Amazon, I mean, they're the giants, right? If anyone could build their own systems, it would be them. What happened? Did they actually manage to replace like the big players like Salesforce and Workday?
That's the interesting thing. They didn't. Both companies, they ran into these unexpected complexities and roadblocks, building software at that scale, even with
Man.
all their resources, it turned out to be way more challenging than they initially thought it would be.
Wow, so even they couldn't quite crack it. That really puts Klarna's ambition into perspective, doesn't it?
It does. It really highlights the hidden complexities, of what Klarna is trying to do here. Like Google and Amazon, what they found was that these systems they're so deeply intertwined with how businesses actually operate that, customizing them to their specific needs while also making sure that they integrate seamlessly with all these other systems they're using. It's a monumental task.
So if these tech giants with all their resources and expertise found it this difficult, I mean, what does that tell us about Klarna's chances of pulling this off?
Well, it's a cautionary tale, that's for sure. It suggests that maybe replacing these massive enterprise systems, it's less about, technological prowess and more about really understanding the intricate workings of these platforms and the businesses they serve at a very deep level.
So it's not just about like building a better algorithm. It's about replicating years and years of industry knowledge and experience. That's a tall order, even for a company as innovative as Klarna has sort of shown itself to be.
It is, and it brings us back, I think, to the core question of this whole deep dive, right?
Yeah.
Is Klarna's AI gamble? Is it a stroke of genius, or is it a recipe for disaster?
Right, back to that $1 million question.
Mhm.
After looking at all of this, the technical challenges, the skepticism from experts, the experiences of companies like Google and Amazon, I mean, where do you land on this?
It's honestly hard to say for sure. I think there are strong arguments on both sides. I mean, Klarna's, their early success with AI and customer service, at least, it shows that they're not afraid to really push the boundaries, to really innovate, and they clearly have a vision for a more AI driven future.
And we do have to acknowledge the potential for disruption here. I mean, if they succeed, it really could radically change the way businesses think about software, at a fundamental level.
Absolutely. I mean, imagine a world where companies they could build these customized, AI powered solutions tailor made for their exact needs, potentially saving, millions of dollars in software subscriptions in the process. I mean, that's a powerful motivator.
Yeah. It's exciting, but it's also a little daunting, right? There's so much uncertainty here. What should our listener be watching for as this all unfolds? I mean, what are the key signs that Klarna is on the right track or heading for trouble?
Yeah, I think the next year is going to be crucial for them if we start seeing concrete examples of Klarna successfully implementing these AI solutions and not just in, pilot programs, but at scale, within their own operations. That's a good sign.
And what about red flags? What should make our listener worried?
I would say watch out for signs of struggle, missed deadlines, scaled back ambitions, if there are reports of internal conflicts or difficulties integrating these new systems, those could be early warning signs that maybe this gamble isn't paying off the way they hoped it would.
So it's a wait and see situation then. This deep dive has been fascinating, but it feels like we're just at the beginning of the story, really.
We are. I think Klarna's AI gamble, regardless of the outcome, it's a powerful reminder that we're really on the cusp of a new era in business technology, an era where the potential of AI is enormous, but so are the challenges of actually implementing it and the risks of maybe overestimating what it can really do at this point.
Yeah, it's a lot to think about. Klarna's bet on AI. I mean, it could be a game changer or it could be, a cautionary tale for a lot of companies. But one thing's for sure, it's a story worth following closely. And on that note, we'll wrap up this deep dive. Thanks for joining us as we explored the potential and the pitfalls of Klarna's ambitious gamble. Be sure to check back for our next episode where we'll delve into another fascinating topic that's shaping the future.